Welcome to tonight's Wisdom Dharma Chat with our special guest, His Eminence Khangser Rinpoche. I think many of you know Rinpoche, but I'll give a short introduction. His Eminence Khangser Rinpoche was identified at the age of 5 as the reincarnation of the 7th Khangser Rinpoche. Now, the 7th Khangser Rinpoche was one of the 3 High Lamas responsible for recognizing the rebirth of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Khangser Rinpoche completed his Geshe Laram degree at Serajay Monastery and also completed a doctorate degree in Tantra from Gyuto Tantric Monastery. And he did so with the highest honors in top divisions for both realms of study. So Khangser Rinpoche also holds the very important position of the Vice Abbot of Gyuto Tantric Monastery. Rinpoche is the founder and administrative head of Tankar Dechen Choling Monastery Institute, and Rinpoche has also established the Dipkar centers around the globe. He also established the Dipkar Vajrayana Institute to offer free Dharma education to all. And Rinpoche is considered one of the greatest Buddhist teachers of the modern age. He is also a wisdom author. I think many of you know this book, if I can get it right for you. It's A Monk's Guide to Finding Joy. And we're just waiting for Rinpoche to join us now. Rinpoche is coming, zooming in from India, I believe, and he has some exciting things to tell us. We're going to catch up with Rinpoche and talk mainly about how the study of Buddhism and how to study Buddhism. Rinpoche's got a new course coming called the Comprehensive Meditation and Mind Training course. I'm going to ask Rinpoche to tell us a bit about that. I believe that starts in January, late January, and that's a course that goes for 16 weeks. It's done in conjunction with the University of the West. And so I'm really interested to find out what Rinpoche's up to in that course, and of course, let everyone know how they might be able to join a course. But also, we're going to talk about Rinpoche's other ideas and institutions and way of teachings and his advice for us modern day practitioners, how we might study the Dharma in the best way. So it seems like Rinpoche was here and he's just disappeared, and so we'll just wait. Maybe we can meditate together. Maybe we can just meditate for a couple of minutes. So I will be back very shortly, hopefully with Rinpoche. Thank you everyone for their patience. Hello, Rinpoche. Welcome. Rinpoche.
Sorry, I got a little bit confused with I could not get in on time. I'm sorry for that. I was trying the Zoom because I don't know, somehow I could not get in. Yeah.
No problem, Rinpoche. We're so fortunate to have you join us. So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we've been having a nice time together in the chat. There's many people from all over the world, from Mexico, Australia, here in New York, all over the world, Vietnam, California. Lots of people all around the world have gathered, Rinpoche. So thank you for joining us. And yes. So Rinpoche, I thought, and people have already started asking questions, so I thought we would just get into a conversation. I've already done an intro for you, and so
Okay.
maybe Rinpoche, we start with where are you, Rinpoche, and what have you been doing?
Right now I'm in the North India, so I'm just doing that as usual. That I'm in the Gyuto Monastery, so we just finished some important prayers here. Yeah, that's the right now that what we have done recently.
Wonderful, Rinpoche. So you are in Gyuto, and I think that you have a program of study coming up, and that was one of the things we wanted to talk about. And so, Rinpoche, I thought maybe we can start there with this program of study with the University of the West, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about this program, Comprehensive Meditation and Mind Training.
Yeah. Actually, the program is what I started is that about the comprehensive program of the meditation and the mind training, because that right now the meditation is quite been popular in the West. And people are not knowing that exactly the meditation have a lot of the steps. And also, it is very important to know that when you are meditating, when you face some obstacles, that how you can overcome those obstacles. In meditation, is like it's like a exercise, or it can be like an exercise. When you need a very proper, the instructor or the trainer, when you want to do the real want to do the really the very good exercise. And so same thing like this program is I opened the one of meditation, the program, that the people or student who learn that program, and they can become like trainer, the meditation trainer to the others, and they can lead the meditations, the seminars and the workshops, and they can train the others the meditation. So that's why I started to work with the university in the West in the Los Angeles to come up with this the meditation program, and the student, they can also get the certificate from the university. Yeah, I think this is a very new thing that I just did.
You're always on the edge, Rinpoche, pushing the boundaries and doing new things. So then, Rinpoche, this is for people who can learn how to meditate themselves, but also will be able to train others. They will have certificates, so they can have some recognition to do the training of others in meditation. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that is what's our plan, and yeah,
Yeah.
I think yeah.
And then, Rinpoche, how does this course, is this similar to the courses you will teach, generally in your Dharma education programs, or is this a little bit different, and
Oh,
how
it's
how so?
different, very different, very different. Because in the Dharma teaching, normally I would just go more like a Dharma way. This is just fully focused on the meditation and the very
Mm,
secure way.
mm,
This meditation can be done by the whatever you have the belief system. You can do this meditation. Plus, that what I'm adding is in this meditation program, I'm adding the more meditation that the what I'm doing the research. Recently, that I got the IRB, the IRB from the one of the medical institute from the Taiwan, to do the research on the meditation, that how can affect the body, the immune system. So we are going
mm,
to start that, and all these results I'm going to, whatever the experiment, all this we are going to add in that meditation, the program. This is the number one. Number two is that this meditation is what the program is the mainly I focus on the meditation, how the people can meditate, and how they can not only the meditate, how can they deal with their own the emotion without depending on the any masters or later any masters or any books. So it is more like a very comprehensive, and I can say like it is like a just giving them all the toolkits,
mm.
so they will know how to deal with their own negative emotions. So, and in this meditation program, I didn't talk anything about the Dharma and Buddha, and the Buddha is nothing to do with this program. Yeah, just only his word, which really some of his word
Mhm.
really which can be accepted by any of the and any of the people, no matter the whatever that they have, I think the belief system. Yeah,
So this is for a more secular approach to meditation, Rinpoche,
that's
would
right.
you
Yeah,
say?
most
Yeah.
Apple. That's right. Yeah.
And so what is the main part of Buddhist meditation that sort of crosses over into the secular world? What do you take over and what do you leave behind? And how do you choose, Rinpoche, what these decisions?
You mean the how I think about it, or I didn't get that question very
Oh,
clearly.
sorry, Rinpoche. Like, this, when you are teaching a more secular approach, how does that change the approach? Like, what are the things you are emphasizing and what do you emphasize less?
Yeah, I emphasize very much of this program that mainly that I emphasize very much of the peoples that okay, first that my personally belief that every people have a right to live happily, every people have a right to live peacefully, that they have the right it. So my program mainly, I'm very much emphasizing on the people that they can learn how they can through the meditation they can overcome the destructive emotion. That is my main purpose of this program. They can learn. Not only they can learn, also they can lead others and train others that through that meditation, how can people can overcome the destructive emotion. That is the one of the main purpose of my purpose. And the second is that also everyone to live the very healthy life. So that was a healthy life, and that I'm sure that this can help the meditation. This can help them bring them, make them have a more healthy life. So Daniel, that I always tell the one thing it's one thing that I always tell that in the life you have to do the three things. In the life you have to do the three things. You have to do the things that which makes your body more healthy.
Yeah.
Second thing is that you have to do the things which makes your mind more strong and healthy. And the third thing is that you have to do those things which makes your bank balance more higher. Other than doing anything other than these three, it is just like a useless distraction. So that's why that this meditation, I hope that not only makes your the mind more strong and healthy, also makes your the physical body more healthy. So that is the main focus.
What about the bank balance, Rinpoche?
Sorry.
What about the bank balance?
Yeah, that's a word. I hope that this meditation program, whoever join, also helps you to bring your bank balance more higher after you
Yeah.
get certificate. You can lead the meditation workshop, train. Hopefully, that you can make your bank balance also higher.
So, Rinpoche, I think these are important things, especially the dealing with emotions, right? The
Yeah.
ability there's a lot of, fear and anger and all these problems in the world, Rinpoche. So anything that can help the people of the world deal with these emotions is very important. The other thing, Rinpoche, is it seems like we are so in a world full of distractions. Everything is like competing for our attention, on our phones or the algorithms. And I'm wondering if Rinpoche, you have thought about that as well, like in this, and with AI coming, like how are we supposed to deal with all this in this world where everything is competing for our attention and is very good at getting our attention, actually, Rinpoche.
So I always tell that because mostly the why you are getting the distracted, why you are getting the addicted.
Yeah.
So this is why you are getting the addicted that because of all those things like as you say that lots of the things they have we are getting distracted because of a lot of the things like whatever you say that the gadgets or the internet or the AI, you are getting the distracted, then you will become addicted. But here in this program, I'm teaching the method that how you can overcome these or the addiction or the distraction. Right now, if you look, and especially in the Western world, they talk about a meditation, like okay, meditate on your breath or whatever. They will talk about the meditation, but what is lacking is that if you get distracted, how you can overcome that distraction, what method you can use, number
Yeah.
one. Number two is missing there. When you're meditating, they will not talk about that there are the different kinds of the distraction, like a saddle or the cross. Even they don't. I met the peoples and they tell me they meditate quite a long time, but they have no idea of the different kind of the distraction. So when they're not knowing the different kinds of the distraction, then how can they overcome that kind of the distraction?
Yeah.
So that is a very important for all the people to meditating that how to overcome the distraction, to understand the distraction. Distraction, first thing is to overcome the distraction. You have to understand. You have to know the distraction. Right now, everything they talk about the meditation, know the meditation, how to meditate, but they never talk about know the distraction. So
Knowing that, yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
that is the
please go.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's why that we have to know the distraction. So in this program, I'm teaching how do you have to understand and then know the distraction. Sometimes it seems like a distraction is quite simple, but in the reality, distraction is not that simple.
I
So
think,
as yeah,
no, I think that's true. The distraction is very, Very subtle, and even like, advanced meditators might be having a problem with subtle dullness, right? Not even know it. So how can we know these things? And
That's right.
actually, what we call distraction, I was observing something, Rinpoche. As you know, wisdom is in the West Village here, and I live up at the Upper West Side. So I go on the subway about 30 minutes every day, back and forth. And then I was watching everyone on the subway, and I realized that of course, we can expect 90% of people is on their phone, right? They're like push, push. But actually, when I looked around, it feels like we might call this distracted, but if I look at them, they don't look distracted. They look very focused, right? And so it feels like one of the problems is maybe not distraction, it's that we are focused on the things we didn't choose, right? So we are absorbed. They maybe we could even say they're absorbed. So it can be called distraction, but it's a strange type of distraction that a lot of people are addicted to nowadays. And so, how do we know? How do we realize if we have to know distraction? If we are absorbed in distraction, how do we know? How do we get out of this, Rinpoche?
Things that the first thing that we have to understand the focus and the contemplate. There's a two are very different. When they're watching the one like a cell phone, they are not contemplating. They are not concentrating at all. Because what they're watching is every second, the object of the focus is changing. One scene to the another scene. When you watch a movie from the one scene to the another scene, there's a changing. So you're not contemplating. That's a changing. That is how every second you are getting distracted. You look like very much focused, but in the reality, you are distracted with every second, different the scenes and the different words of you are getting the distracted when you're watching a movie. Example, okay, when you're watching anything on internet or whatever. So that is what's happening. So thing is that the first thing, the distraction will come, then the addiction will come after the distraction. Then they will start to get addicted. But you are not knowing that the one thing that when you are getting the distracts and this attention, you feel like a little bit joy when you are getting the distracted. But that joy or that is a very addictive. So that's why you become addicted with these all things of what to use. But in the reality now, if you look at a very simple way, when you feel that not very happy, when you feel the lonely, what you do? You will watch a movie. You will just look at social media, like whatever the apps you're watching it. But you are not trying to come up that destructive emotion, like a loneliness, like a sadness. And Daniela, have you heard the very interesting thing about the loneliness feeling? When you get loneliness, it's a very harmful. It's like you are taking 15 cigarettes a day. When you
Wow.
get loneliness, it's like the very harmful. Because when you get lonely, what you do, even you don't know how to deal with it. So that's why when you get lonely, you have to find someone to feel that, the empty inside. That is what you all are doing. But here that you have to know that these are the destructive emotion through the meditation, you can overcome it. As you ask how we can overcome it, then I will tell those people who really interested to get this answer, join my program.
So, Rinpoche, you are in the program, you are talking about these things like loneliness and addiction and these things. You are using meditation, you are giving the instructions on how to overcome these issues. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That especially right now, in this especially the world when the people get more using the internet and all those, the social media too much. I think main one reason is the loneliness. You
Yeah,
feel, yeah,
I would agree. It seems like they say loneliness is an epidemic right now. Yeah. So,
yeah. It's epidemic. It's not only. It's a very harmful. It's like according to some research, it's like taking 15 cigarettes. That the loneliness is like this. Like a harmful.
and then our solution is like a false comfort. If, like you said, we go for social media or movies, these things feel comforting, like but they're like a false comfort because after it, you probably feel worse than when you started, right? So this is a
Absolutely.
strange thing.
Yeah, very interesting thing is that when you feel unhappy or when you feel some loneliness, or when you use the social media or whatever the app you're using it for temporarily, you will get some little bit like a joy. But you are
Yeah.
not knowing that when you are not dealing with the destructive emotion is getting more and more stronger. Because it is destructive, these emotion like a disease. If you're not treat, it will be more and more strong and it will grow. So cancer said without a treatment, the cell will grow bigger and bigger. Then they will become the last stage. So exactly, it's the same thing like this, the destructive emotions. So this should be something you have to deal with it. So deal with
Mm.
it, and that's why in the Buddha's term itself, the negative affliction. No, if these
Mm.
afflictions will create some of negative results. So that's why these destructive emotion you should have to overcome. You have to apply some antidotes. So at least it can make it cannot grow bigger.
Mm.
So that's the methods that are what I'm teaching: meditation and the mind training. Yeah.
Then what is possible, Rinpoche? Like the course is 16 weeks.
Mhm.
Uh, what is possible? Can we improve our lives in 16 weeks to a significant degree? Or is this just the start and it's like, and that you learn the basics to practice and over years you transform? Well, what can people expect?
Yeah, you can expect that the first course, that the first I mean the semester, that you will learn all those of the destructive emotion and the basic of the meditation, the practices, which will, I'm sure that which will help you to reduce these of the destructive emotions. I can't say that significantly
Mm.
reduce, because here that I want to be, I'm not a market agent. So I will talk that really there's so much of the good things on the program, but I want to make sure that because I always say the one thing that I always tell the Dharma teaching, I always say the one thing that I'm having like a 6-year program Dharma teaching, or the student, I always tell the one thing after I teach the Dharma, what you listen and learn. If my Dharma cannot help you, I will say sorry. Officially, I will say the sorry. That's my mistake. So I will say this. So same thing in the distance program that I'm pretty sure that because of my own experience with the Dharma 6 year the Dharma program. When the student join after 1 or 2 years later, I will do the survey. I ask the student how my Dharma teaching help them, whether they become a more happier and it help them more peace in their life. So when I do the survey, all the student, they don't have to write a name. They can write it if they're not helping, so they can write it didn't help. So I do the survey. So many countries I did that survey. On the base on the survey up till I now got more than 1,000 people on the base on that survey, more than 90% say that it really helped. More than 90%.
I
So
don't know many programs who could offer 90% effectiveness, Rinpoche, so that's excellent.
so this
Rinpoche,
is
people are,
the yeah. And
yeah,
this
please, Rinpoche.
this program is that I made this program with the based on my experience and more than 40 years of my experience in the Dharma. I started to learn the Dharma at the age of the 10, and learn, meditate, teach. Lots of the 40 year my experience comes and make a one program. So this is the program. This meditation program is I made through. It is made by the 40 years program. Yeah.
Rinpoche, people are asking, is emptiness, explanation of emptiness included in the course?
Emptiness, I will say that yes and no both. Because here I use the emptiness meditation, how you can meditate the emptiness meditation to overcome the especially like an ego. That I use that in that program. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've put a link to the course in the chat. So if people are interested in finding out more, they should go to that link and find out more. And then, Rinpoche, I wanted to ask, so now we're sort of generally talking about education, emotional education, meditation education. I wanted to talk about, if we have Buddhist students and serious students and they're wanting to study more and learn more, there's two areas. First area is Vajrayana, that I think people find it hard to get good study programs in. How if someone, of course everyone can get initiations and stuff. Well, often people can go and get initiations, but how does one go about getting an incredible Vajrayana education? It seems like that Of course, there's a few books here and there, and but it seems that's one of the hardest things for a modern student to get if you're not in the monastery. And I was wondering, what has Rinpoche seen work?
Vajrayana's education,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, advice, not initiation, but if you have initiation and you want to learn, because the Vajrayana is so sophisticated and so precise, but in the West there's not much instruction on it. And I was wondering if someone yearned for that, how can they do this?
First, the thing is that you have to know the one thing that the Vajrayana, because of the before I'm talking about the Vajrayana, let me tell you the one thing that about the Vajrayana. You know that I've done the Geshe Haram, but it's more like an
Yeah.
equivalent and equivalent like a PhD equivalent to the
Yes.
PhD. Right, I did the Geshe Haram. After that, I studied the Vajrayana in the Gyuto Monastery, and I done the Nagram or Nagram. That means more like it's like same like again I did a PhD in the Vajrayana.
Yes.
I did that. After that, now the as you know that I'm in the taking the responsibilities of the vice abbot in the Gyuto Monastery. It is Gyuto Monastery itself as a considers one of the best, I mean the most, I mean the strict, I mean the monastery all over the world, and the most of the best, I mean the institute for the study the Vajrayana all over the world. I can say that. Yeah. Vajrayana Institute. Yeah. Okay. So that is that. Now, based on the Gyuto monastery system, the how you talk about how you have to understand of the Vajrayana. First thing is the Vajrayana is the when you under practicing the Vajrayana, so not taking the just one initiation and the reciting the some mantras or the prayer. This is not a Vajrayana. You have to understand the philosophy of the Vajrayana. So that's a
Yes.
very understand the philosophy of the Vajrayana. Number one. Number two is that right now a lot of the misconceptions is happening in the a lot of the places that the Vajrayana I took under 3 months, 6 months, years I have to go retreat. Once they get in the retreat, what will they do? They will just chant some mantra. That mantra again and again, maybe 1,000 times, a million times. They will go. That is not that much of the effect. If you're really the Vajrayana practitioner, what you have to do is you have to learn. Vajrayana, the main practice is emphasizing on the controlling the not only the mind, controlling your inner the body chakras and the energy. That system you have to learn.
Yeah.
Vajrayana teaching not only the control the train the mind, talking about the controlling the chakras and that energy, controlling that you have to learn. Through that, then the mind will become the more amanda. I will say that through the mind, through the controlling your chakras and the energy, then the mind will become the more amanda, more, I will say, the more intelligent or the more capable to understand the reality. That is the one of the main the point of the practicing the Vajrayana. So right now, the Gyuto monastery, very interesting thing is that when they do the practitioner, the meditate and the Vajrayana practitioner, they are some of the scientists. They comes and they do the research on these practitioners in the Gyuto monastery where we are having that the program like this program we're having it here in the monastery. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking, Rinpoche. I think the access to this type of education is very difficult for Westerners to get. Like for even, for example, let's say Lama Tsongkhapa's um, Rim Nga Seldrin, the illuminating the five stages. Even if someone picks up this book, they can't understand. Like, it's very difficult to understand, and so it's very difficult for the Westerners to slowly approach this topic. And I'm wondering if there's a way for that to happen.
So that's why I think in the Western world, I think that you have to study to the person who really studied all those Vajrayana very well.
Yeah.
But what happened in that these all the Vajrayana textbooks mostly what's happening is that the Vajrayana they take some parts of it, then they will the Vajrayana some part of it, and they will introduce to the students in the especially in the not only in the Western world, all over the world. What they do is they get some part of the Vajrayana and they will introduce the students that the small part of it, and the student who learn they think that they learn the Vajrayana quite well. Only they are learning the very small bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they explain to someone else. Whether they are explaining the right or wrong, there is no, debates on it. In the here, when you learn the Vajrayana philosophy, the debate is very important. When the master says something wrong, there should be some question is a very important. Debate is very important. So that's why whatever the master say it's a really the right or wrong, only that we will know through the debates. So that's why it's quite important. So that's why in the Gyuto monastery, when who studied in the Gyuto monastery, the system is very interesting. Who finished the Geshe Haram, who finished more than 20 years of the studies in the the Buddhist philosophy, they come to last final training at the Gyuto monastery. Then they study the philosophy of the Vajrayana for one final year that they have to study. And then they study the Vajrayana through the debate. Then they have to go to the rituals, they have to study rituals, then they have to go to the pujas and see that how the rituals can be carried. Then they have to study the philosophy of the Vajrayana, and they have to go for the debate of the philosophy of the Vajrayana. So that is a very proper training for it. I think that is quite important to really to understand the Vajrayana very well.
Yeah, this idea of the debates and all these topics, you can learn a lot. And this people are asking, what are the tantric topics and texts studied at Gyuto?
Tantric topic text.
Yeah.
Tantric topic text is a very interesting thing is that there are a lot of the topic texts, but I think these texts, many of it is not translated in any other language. So good thing is that I hope that the AI can translate for you. If you're really interested to learn, maybe we can. Right now, that maybe AI can make some mistake. Hopefully, 5 or 10 years later, AI can make a perfect translation. That's really the good side of the AI.
Is a sang there jigsum? Yeah, normally is this a 3 or what is the
Okay,
problem?
so normally they will text is mainly it focuses on the Guhyasamaja and the Yamantaka and Chakra Samvara, 3 deities. This is the deities. And now that it comes to the Guhyasamaja, because when you call the Vajrayana is a way when you have to base on the one text. Vajrayana is not like the one master come to give the initiation and talk about this of the some of the like visualization is not like that. Okay. You get my point. These take it as a joke. Okay. Sometimes when the Vajrayana comes, oh master, this master see that deity, that Buddha talks too much. So I take as a joke. Okay. When you believe that your own hallucination, people will call you you're crazy, no? Some of the Vajrayana practitioners, they started to believe that some person, the hallucination based on that, they talk about so this is not a real Vajrayana. Real Vajrayana is that you have to base on the text. The root text of the Vajrayana goes to the Guhyasamaja. That is your the base. Based on that, then you have to study the commentary of the Nagarjunas and the Chandrakirti, the commentary, you have to know that. Based on that, then you have to understand the structure of the philosophy. Based on that, then you have to develop your practice. Then you have to meditate. That is the real Vajrayana. Right now, the Vajrayana is what. So that's why here the main textbook is they study the Guhyasamaja root tantra text of the Guhyasamaja, and also the commentary of the Guhyasamaja root tantra text written by the Chandrakirti. They study on that. Very thick book. So next year, soon, and a few months later, I will become the abbot, and my job is now to teach that to the monk. That's my job, and after a few months later, that now I have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some of this in English as well, Rinpoche, just so you know, Chandrakirti's commentary on.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
very. And I think that you all need some of the group who can discuss each other on that.
Yeah.
And very important. Sometimes what you read and what you understand, if you discuss with other, then you may know that what you understand is totally wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, Rinpoche, I'm thinking of doing these Dharma chats, but just with you have to have initiation if you come to the audience so that the Lama can speak quite openly about some tantric topics and people can ask questions. because this could be very beneficial. This could be one way of, if people are engaging this, then they have access to Rinpoches they might not have access to. So this could be helpful. And then, Rinpoche, I'm wondering about in Gyuto, what are you debating about? Is it like, is the illusory body arising in the indestructible drop or outside? What could you be debating on in?
That's the main one topic.
That's the
Really,
main
very,
topic here. Yeah.
because this is very much deeper, like an illusionary body. No, what
Yeah.
illusionary body. For meditator, when they rise from the illusionary body, whether they rise inside or outside, that's a one big. Last 1 month back, they had a big debate on it. So
Yeah.
about illusionary body, yeah, as you're right. This is the one very important. The Vajrayana, the point mainly it talks about when you achieved in the always you will hear that the Vajrayana says that you can achieve the enlightenment in the one lifetime. What the main reason how they can prove that the one lifetime you can achieve the enlightenment is that in this the illusionary body. When you can achieve this illusionary body, your lifespan will be dramatically increased in that lifetime. So that's why that you can achieve the enlightenment. Now
So
the
one,
yeah.
no, Rinpoche, please.
So that's a very good, Daniel. You raised this question, no? Because right now, the lots of people they talk about the Vajrayana practice and the initiation, but they have no idea what is the illusionary body at all. When they don't know the illusionary body, how can they achieve the enlightenment in the one lifetime? It's impossible. So illusionary body, when to understand it, this a question comes up whether it rises from the inside and inside, or it will rise from the outside of our body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of debates and lots of debates there. Yeah. So that thing. Yeah.
So this is what you're debating, and then what does Rinpoche think? Is the illusory body arising in the indestructible drop or outside?
Yeah. So I have to say.
What do you have to say, Rinpoche?
Why? Because why I have to say is that okay, because in the okay, so that is the thing that the origin there's a different ways of the saying out it. Okay, whether it arises from the inside or whether it arises from the outside of the droplet. No, there's a different way. So normally that when you ask me that, I will say that maybe it will be the outside, the outside, because the outside of why this is the very the important point is that when the illusionary body, when you arise the person, if you arise from the inside of the droplet, then there is a one big points. The person have to prove that when the person die, it's a very simple. When the person die, they will born as a pardo, intermediate state. The body will arise inside of our body or outside of our body. That's the one's question. It all so same thing like the person who achieve or arise in the illusionary body. That illusionary body will arise from the outside of that droplet, not outside the droplet. I will say that outside droplet.
No, you say outside.
Exactly same as a pardo, because the pardo will arise outside of the droplet or outside of the body. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can say one lifetime, but not one body, right? Enlightenment in one lifetime, but not one body. Is that right?
Right, that's all. That is the main. This is the Daniel. You ask so good questions, and this is the really. You ask if I go on a talk like this for the who say the Vajrayana practice, sometimes they don't understand it. That is a very important point. You can achieve the enlightenment in the one lifetime, not on the one body. Because this question, when the Atisha came to the Tibet, they asked the same question. Through the Vajrayana practice, person can achieve the enlightenment in the one lifetime and in one body. Atisha said, one lifetime, but not in one body. But the scholar, they don't understand it at all. I thought the Atisha have no idea of the Vajrayana practice. But the Atisha is a great scholar of the Vajrayana and the Sutra. Yeah, right, yeah.
So I think, Rinpoche, there's an opportunity that we can have these great conversations on Tantra that can help benefit many people, because I think many people don't have access to this type of information, yeah?
Because the illusionary body is very interesting. Even the lots of, there's some Hollywood movie made based on that.
Oh, what do you think, Rinpoche? Which one?
Like Avatar, not 100% same. That the Avatar was quite a similar idea of that. Not the person who will raise in the different bodies, yeah. So these are the quite similar the idea, and the Vajrayana, the illusionary body, that how can person to rise from the illusionary body, how they can achieve the illusionary body. It is like completely, it's like that person who can have the two bodies, no, functioning.
Yeah. Very, very cool, Rinpoche. Thank you for helping us on these topics, these very profound topics. Someone is asking Rinpoche, like, can you please describe what enlightenment is? Obviously, we see these words all the time, but maybe we don't have an idea of what enlightenment or awakening, what this actually is.
Okay, but now things like that, when you're saying the what is the enlightenment is, okay. Now that this is the very simple way I will tell the enlightenment. So when you succeed in eliminating all your negative thought, that is the enlightenment. Very simple way. Okay? When you reach such a state where you succeed to eliminate all your negative thought, that is the enlightenment. That's a very simple way. Enlightenment is that.
Mhm. So when we have permanently eliminated our negative afflictions, this is
That
enlightenment. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Rinpoche, there's a question around you mentioned Baudo being and these things, but there's a question about when someone close to us passes away suddenly, what is the
Mm,
most beneficial way to hold them in our practice, especially when we are also supporting others who are grieving?
mm. Okay, now the two things are here there. Okay, now the best way when the suddenly if someone will pass away your loved one, the best thing is that I think the best thing is what you can do is recite any of the Buddha Sutra. That is what you do, that any of the recite. And the most important in the daily practice is that always whatever you do, the any of the Dharma practice, dedication is a very important. Right now, where in my monastery room in the Nepal, okay, in my Nepal monastery, I have a room. I have a room there. In that room, my room in the Nepal monastery, in the one side of the wall, I write all the name of the people who passed away. Someone they asked me who to pass away, I write that wall. Also, when I see that like a flight accident, so I write the flight numbers and how many people died in that accident and the flight numbers, everything. Out of one wall is full of all this name of the dead peoples and who died in the tragedies. Even these the people who died in the flight. I have no idea who died in that, but I will write the flight numbers and the date and how many people died. And that is my morning daily practice. When I look at them and then I dedicate the prayers and the meditate, that is my first thing to do. So that is the first thing I'm doing in my Nepal monastery. So I always tell the one joke to my student. I know that no one wants their name in that wall, right side of my room's wall. No one wants their name on that wall. So that is the one thing you do, and especially that in yourself now you want to carry the practice of the impermanence. Okay, what happens that? So yourself, that's a very important reminder of the impermanence. Once you have so that's why the Buddha said the one thing that the practice of the impermanent is the best practice because it will open your eyes. Sometimes that you will feel like you live you live the permanently. So that's why even you achieve some success because you think that you will be successful all the time. So that's why you will build up a lot of the ego. When you practice the impermanent, when you learn that sooner or later you will lose everything. There's no point of developing the ego. Once you not develop the ego, then I don't think that you will develop all these negative thoughts. All negative thoughts comes results of the ego. So that's why it is yourself when you look at the people who passed away nearby you, meditate the impermanence. Now you consult with the people lost someone. Really, that's a really, 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 really. I know that someone who lost someone. I really know that they feel so sad, and always you be the supportive for them. What a supportive means, uh, they can you can just be the supportive they when they're having going through that very tough time. I think that you have to be supportive, especially the emotionally. Okay, you should be the emotionally the supportive for them. Yeah, that is the most important. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. I just had one question from the Dipkar Vajrayana Institute, Tati, but it just disappeared. So if you couldn't put that question back in, I will read it to Rinpoche. Thank you. Then the question, oh, here it is. Thank you. So this is from Tati Rinpoche. When a teacher says enlightenment is possible in one lifetime, but not in one body, did he mean one uninterrupted continuum of consciousness continuing through death, even as the body changes?
No, actually, this is like that. No, actually, what I mean is enlightenment is not enlightenment. You have to know that enlightenment is one lifetime is possible. Not one body means that is comes the Vajrayana points. Here come the Vajrayana point, because the enlightenment is what you have to do. Mainly the enlightenment you need to transform. Not from the Vajrayana point of view. Not only the transform the mental state. You have to transform your physical body also. You need to transform. There's a transformation only comes that in this transformation only comes that when you achieve that illusory body. Number one. Number two is that you need when you achieve the illusory body, that your lifespan will be dramatically increased with that illusory body. The third thing is the enlightenment is, I will say, the more important, not enlightenment, Buddhahood. I will say the Buddhahood. Okay, the Buddhahood is more. Because there's a little bit different between the enlightenment and the Buddhahood. Okay, Buddhahood is such a not only the transforming the mental state, transforming the also the transforming the also the your the physical, the body. So that's why when you transform the physical body into the the state into the Buddhahood, the physical body also. That's why you need the illusionary body. From the Vajrayana point of view, you cannot carry this body at all toward the Buddhahood. So that's why you need a new body. You have to change your car. So get the better car. It's like okay, so changing the car and yeah.
Rinpoche, this is very much from a Guhyasamaja view. What about from a Dzogchen view? What would we say from a Dzogchen view? Enlightenment in one lifetime, and then in terms of the one body, what would we say from Dzogchen?
Okay, now the thing is that we have to understand the one thing. Right now, up till now, what I say is very much based on the Guhyasamaja root Tantra text, which is teach by the Buddha himself, the Guhyasamaja and the Chandrakirti, the roots, they are saying that, okay, based on that. Now, when you talk about a Dzogchen, we have to go through the textbooks. Text is normally the Dzogchen, what I explain is more like a great masters, like a Dzogchens, and what they're from the Buddhahood is that the way that you have to cease all the saying of the unpure. The state where you reach the cease to seeing the unpure, that is the total the Buddhahood. Madha Vinavas, in the Tibetan term, it says the Madha Vinava. So that was when you cease the seeing the unpure state, that is called that. So this is more like comes from the mental state. That is one thing. And now from there, the Dzogchen terms more they use like a rainbow body. Rainbow body, the transformator, is more like it's the same as the illusionary body. Yeah, it is nothing that much of the difference between that make the terms can be a little bit different, like a use like a rainbow body.
Rinpoche, I have a question around in Dzogchen, you have this like the cell of Rigpa or the dung of Rigpa, these ideas, and then, in Guhyasamaja, say Luen, like in isolation body, yeah? And then you have in isolation body where you have the appearances appearing as the bliss. This is in the like the and then also so in the what do you say in Tibetan? The deities appearing to you also in Luen in the isolation of body, and this is in the Soso Dupa section. Then what can we relate these, Rinpoche? So in both you can have these like really experiences of the appearance of the pure form, and I'm wondering if we can relate these or not.
Okay, things like that. This is two different. Very different.
Yeah.
Two different. The field. Okay, we cannot mix it together.
Okay.
This is a two different field. Because you are asking two different field, and what is happening is that now when you talk about a Rigpa is a pure. We can say the pure the consciousness. Let's say that the pure the Rigpa is a pure the consciousness in the Dzogchen term of the Rigpa, one of the Dzogchen term of the Rigpa, and. I will say that the new tradition, but when you come to the tradition of the Rigpa, these two terms, the words, stand for the different meanings. Okay.
Yeah.
When you come to the Dzogchen terms of the Rigpa and Lama terms are tradition of the base of Rigpa, these two words that looks are very same, but the meaning can be a little bit different. Interpretation can be the different. Okay. Interpretation can be different. Dzogchen the Rigpa is more like they are going to pure the consciousness, which the state where they can exactly they realize that the emptiness or that state, they call that the Rigpa. And the Lamrim tradition, when they talk about the Rigpa means all the consciousness minds are the Rigpa. So that's why have you heard that Sim? Sim is the term that the Sim is term from if you go from the Dzogchen terms of the Sim, there the meaning can be very different. The Sim means the consciousness. We see the unpure things. It can be the Sim. So that's why there are lots of, they are saying that in the state of the Buddha, there is no sin. But the Lamrim and in this tradition, sin is just like a consciousness. Even the Buddhahood state, there is a sin. But the terms of what the interpretation can be a little bit different. So that's why it's a very important, even in the Tibetan terms, from the terms goes to the different tradition, it will bring the different meanings and the different meanings. But so that's why when you ask these questions that the Luwens that practices and the Rigpa, this is two different fields. Now, when you say the isolation of the body, the Luwen, this the Guhyasamaja root tantra is what is saying that the isolation in the body is mainly that the visualizing the whole body into in the deity, visualizing that. With that, the visualizing that your consciousness will be see your own self as the deity, others as the deity. You have to reach such a state. You have to change the whole perception, the seeing the ordinary things. Oh, see all the things as the deity. That comes in that Kirim, it comes into that practice of the liberation stage. Yeah.
Luen is the Zogrim Luen, right? This Luen is mostly Zogrim, yeah. There is Kirim Luen, but I think in Tsongkhapa says we are using memory to do the pure vision. I think that is what I'm interested in. Yeah. So thank you so much, Rinpoche. We have a few more questions, if that's okay. Can Rinpoche explain the idea of the three bodies? What is the causes of these three bodies arising?
Three bodies.
I think Dharmakaya, Dharmakaya, Rubakaya, yeah.
Body is not okay. So normally it's said Dhammakaya, Sambodhakaya, Nirmanakaya. Okay, three bodies of Buddha. Now, what is the three bodies of the Buddha? Maybe let me make it very simple. Maybe you type in the Google. That is the most simple way. So one very interesting to Daniela, I was just past some months, I'm thinking that now when I do the meditations of the Buddhism, I really want to go more deeper research in the Buddhism that someone cannot find that in the AI. Because otherwise, the very simple things really that you can find it in the Google, and the AI provide a much better. So that's why my proposal past couple of the months, I was thinking I should be the one step ahead of the AI. So really, I have to go more research, more deeper meditation that will not be available to see in the AI. So that is the one thing. Second thing was that when I'm using the AI can be the really very good debate partner. So they can develop such a software that you can debate with the AI. So really, AI can develop like that. I want to be the first one who debate with the AI. My purpose will be to win the debate against the AI.
Rinpoche, have you debated AI? I think you can debate ChatGPT, yeah?
And right now that has not developed that well, no. So I really wish to develop very well that develop and the person can debate with the AI, because I think the AI have to, because that is a very interesting. For a long time back, I think it's around more than 30 years back. 30 years back, that 30 years back, we are discussing with one professor. He lives in Portland, and he really, that time, he saw the debate in the monastery. He really think that they can develop such a computer. That time, these are not a program, it's not there. Computer that the person can debate with that computer. He was thinking about it 30 years back. He was telling me about it. It will be good. Wow. So now really I see the very possible with the AI. Because right now AI, if they teach the debate rules, then AI can develop such a like a program or that the person can debate. then I think that will be really good. Right now, what's happening is right now due to there's some research say that the student who use the more of the AI, they lose the critical thinking power. The research say that if AI can develop like that, I think the student will develop the more critical thinking power. They will develop it because you have the debate with the AI, and if you can debate with the AI will be the answer more precise than the common people. I am
Wow.
looking forward that, yeah. I'm really looking forward that the AI can develop the such like this program, and I can debate, and Daniel can watch, and you can give the
Oh,
mark who wins.
no. I think you will easily beat AI, Rinpoche.
Yeah, because the important thing is why the debate is why I'm saying the important thing is that because the one master, the whoever give the teaching without any student debating back,
Yeah.
that master one makes a mistake, one simple mistake, no one is going to correct him. So that's why it's a very important. So that's why that they are saying that the story is like that. This is just a story, okay? Tibetan have the one very famous story. There's a one master, great master, and he told that that the story goes the fifth Dalai Lama. He told the fifth Dalai Lama that I will go to the one monastery. Normally they consider that monastery is a very obedient. Then the whatever the master say, listening, no obedience. So I want to go and give the teaching. So the story, okay, that great master when it the fifth the great master that went to that monastery, and he lots of people told that great master, if you go to the monastery, and if you give the teaching, that is all the monks are so obedient, and so that's why definitely it will help you a lot. Your teaching will help them a lot, and they will practice the so well. Whatever you tell, they will do it. So master went to that monastery, and he gave the teaching. Actually, he was teaching, talking about a compassion teaching. Then he was giving the teaching compassion, and he talked about, oh, we have to develop the compassion towards the food. We call that uh, Tibetan, that what it called that white white uh, white carrot, no carrot. Okay, things like a carrot. Okay, we call
Yeah.
the carrot, and they develop the compassion to the carrot. And the master say that whenever you cut the carrot feel the so pain. The carrot cries. You cannot hear it, but crying. The carrot is saying that okay, don't cut me. I want to leave. Cry. Carrot cry, and the carrot asks for the mercy, but we cut the carrot. Then we boil. It suffer a lot. It is like that. All the monks started to cry, feeling the compassion to the carrot. So this is the story that if no one debate back, the master can tell like that, start to believe the such a very wrong things. No one. So that's why when we joined the debate and the class at that time, that this is quite a popular story that we tell that it's very important of the debate,
Yeah.
very important for the questioning. It's a very important for questioning. Yeah. So that thing. Yeah.
That's a excellent story. So we should question things, right? We should always be questioning things, right, Rinpoche? So Rinpoche,
So
the three bodies, was there, did you say something about the three bodies as well, Rinpoche? Or is
yeah,
that,
I
you
think
said that already, yeah. And
that's what you
they
just said
asked,
that.
is the Dharmakaya the same as the rainbow body was also the follow-up question.
Okay. Now that this is something like that. Okay. So Dhammakaya is the rainbow body is a total. I mean, I will say that there's a differences there. Dhammakaya is mainly the Buddha's the consciousness called the Dhammakaya. And the Dhammakaya, there's the two kind of the Dhammakaya. One is the Buddha's the consciousness. One is the Buddha's what the Buddha achieved. The mainly the what he achieves the Dhammakaya. What is Dhammakaya means the cessations of the ignorance. That is the Dhammakaya. Cessations of the ignorant, that is a real Dhammakaya. So that's why that's called the Dhammakaya. Is Dhamma means actually this would stand for the many different meanings. So one is the ultimate body is the cessation of the ignorance.
Mm. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. We have so much to learn, actually, Rinpoche. So thank you for spending your precious time answering our questions. We have so many questions, actually, so many more. So hopefully you will come back, Rinpoche. But in the meantime, if people want their questions answered, they can go and do your course, right? At the
That, that's
yes.
right. the more questions join for that sector.
Yeah.
Because I told you, Daniel, this is the very new thing I'm bringing in, especially in the world and all over, I can say the world, with the outreach, the meditation, the mind training program, and the university, the recognized university issuing the certificate. That's a very new thing that I've done, mainly because of I think that as that to get the very proper understanding of the meditation, not having some kind of the misunderstanding of the meditation. And also student can joining this program, as I told you, that they can become physically more healthy, mentally more strong, and hopefully the bank balance can be more higher after they can lead the train the meditation towards. Okay.
Rinpoche is very compassionate, looking after all the areas of these students. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. I want to thank you for your time, your precious time. We love having you on the Wisdom Dharma chats, and appreciate that so much. Any other words you want to leave us with, Rinpoche? Please do.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniela. And see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Now, generally, people consider religion, consider something based on faith. But Indian tradition, including non-Buddhist theory, all very much emphasis on reasoning.
But the vision behind this special anthology that was conceived by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And the aim of His Holiness for this series is to create a platform and a medium through which the great insights and knowledge of the Indian Buddhist masters, particularly of the Nalanda tradition, can be shared more broadly. Conclusion, just as His Holiness writes at the end of his introduction to Volume 1, I quote, "I pray that these volumes become a source of great benefit to many people," end of quote. We hope that this course will be a source of benefit and joy to many people.